I have a little analogy for coaching and mindset. And it came to me as I was thinking about my weeding of my garden. Let's take a gander, shall we? All right. So, my friend had given me some extra strawberry plants that had overgrown, and I planted them here. And then I tended to not really, I kind of neglected them last year. And this whole area that's dirt was covered in creeping Charlie and a bunch of other junk. Looked worse than this section here. This is mostly grass now, but this everything that's brown was creeping Charlie and shit. So here's the thing. When we first start out, we can be a real hot mess with regards to all of the shit thoughts that we've allowed to run rampant and grow in our heads. And like creeping Charlie, that stuff with the pretty purple flowers over there, the vines, there's little vines that just reach out and grow all over the place and get into all sorts of sections. It just gets everywhere, and it embeds in new places and keeps going. And that's just like our thoughts. So if we have a crappy thought, it just can compound like that. So when you first start your personal growth your personal growth journey, and you're working on your mindset, you may have just a ton of it, and it seems very overwhelming, and it sure did. So all I did was I sat down and I started pulling stuff. We had a lot of dandelions in here too, and they take some really good deep roots. So I had a little tool and I was digging them out and yanking out a bunch of those as well, and I just kept pulling them all out. So now this is a more manageable situation. So when you first start, you're learning the tools, you're getting a lot of the surface stuff that's really obvious and easiest to grab. But then, stop showing you my stuff. But then the thing is that's not everything. As I was showing you, there are still more little pieces of creeping Charlie and stuff. I was just getting most of it when I did that. There's still underlying ones that have taken root, and there's stuff out beyond the perimeter. So my next task is to go through and clear out the remnants and try to get all of that removed. It's going to take time, and I'm going to have to be very thorough and keep my eyes open and make sure I have good lighting, and also to make sure that I can get as much from the perimeter of outside the perimeter removed, and figure out a way to keep that shit from being able to travel back into my strawberries, so that I can then mulch around them and give them all the safe, wonderful protection they need to help hold in moisture when it rains and all that good stuff. I don't know if you know anything about gardening. I've been learning for the last few years now. So it's crazy how gardening and fitness, I see so many analogies between that and life coaching. And here's the dealio. So we'll get rid of a lot of thoughts, and we'll realize a lot of the things, and we'll become more self-aware, and we start noticing the thought patterns that are not serving us, and starting to understand the underlying causes behind them, so that we're able to uproot that stuff. But the thing is we're humans. This is life, and we're not going to get it all in one fell sweep. We're not, even no matter how hard you try and how much time you spend on it. You're going to have it. This is an ongoing process. It's a lifelong thing. We just get better at it, and we get more skilled, and we start recognizing things. We're able to plan in advance better, perhaps set it up so that we don't have as many situations where we don't need to weed out so often, because we've been able to put up those preventative measures that help keep the shit from encroaching in. But there is going to be times when we have to pull the weeds, and that is life. And when we don't look at that as a failure and realize it's just a part of life, and it's just natural, and it's fine, and nothing's gone wrong, and we're just constantly learning and getting better, and that nobody is able to avoid. There's no such thing as perfect. That's the major thing. There's no such thing as perfect. It's just you're doing your best. And the beautiful thing with having a coach is they can help you through this, because like I've done a lot of this stuff myself, and I used to really live in anxiety. It was horrible how easily I could get taken down. It was stress-induced anxiety as the diagnosis that I had gotten, and it was because it was mostly focused around finances. I grew up with a scarcity mindset and with all sorts of horrible money beliefs and things that I had adopted throughout the years, and it literally would send me into panic attacks. I would be like, oh geez, I'm not really sure if I'm gonna be able to pay all the bills next month. And that immediately was catastrophized into like this huge spiral down a rabbit hole that we were gonna be homeless in a van down by the river. But then I realized I probably wouldn't even be able to afford the van. We'd be in a box. We wouldn't even be bougie enough to be able to have a waterfront property, like. And I would literally, I'd never even known what a panic attack was, but I was starting to have them. Never mind that I was been living in my house for years, and I had stayed in the duplex that I rented. I rented for like 7 years before I bought my house. And sorry, there's construction going on. And I lost my train of thought. The fact that I actually was homeless for a short span before I got that duplex apartment, after getting out of the Navy, seemed to like really stick with me. Like that I literally could be homeless because I had been homeless. And the thing is it does nobody any favors to sit there and freak the fuck out. You are not at your best thinking abilities. You're not at your most creative mindset. You are not open to opportunities. You won't even fucking see opportunities when you're in a spiral, going down a rabbit hole, freaking the fuck out, and completely focused on all the bad things that might possibly happen in the future. That's anxiety. Anxiety is freaking the fuck out about all the possible bad things that can happen in the future, and thinking that you need to do all the things right now to stop that from happening. Like, you want to put out assholes of fires that haven't even fucking happened, and your brain tricks you into thinking that that's a good plan, because of course preventative measures are smart, right? The thing is we go in overdrive, and the next thing you know, you're not even doing anything. You're just spinning your wheels and exerting all of this energy, and when you finally pick your head up and look around, you wonder why the fuck you're still where you're at. And then you're in more despair because you're like, fuck, I have to repeat this cycle again. But you don't have to repeat the cycle over and over again. You can actually choose to stop it. And I'm not saying that, I'm not making it flippant. It's not like, I'll just choose to stop it. That's not what I mean. Like, all those weeds, it was very overwhelming. Like, how the hell am I supposed to get all that taken care of? How long is it going to take? And I just figured, nope, you know what? I'm going to sit down, I'm going to get started, and if it gets to be too late, I'll just stop and we'll do it again another day. Because guess what? You can always just pick something up and keep going. And that is actually just everything with life. You just do what you can and be okay with that, and you pick back up when you come back to it later. You're doing personal development reading, you don't have time for the whole chapter, just read a few freaking pages. I mean, I've listened to podcasts that'll be like 30 minutes long, but I don't have a whole 30 minutes, so I listen to the 24 minutes, and then I'll come back and listen to the last 6 minutes later. And then I've had 30 minutes of that podcast to listen to, or I've read that book, like, it all adds up. And doing something's better than nothing. And when you have a coach, they can actually help you to make sure that you're not running around like a chicken with your head cut off. They can help rein you in, and help guide your mindset. So like I work with people, we meet once a week for an hour on the phone, and it's crazy to see my most recent client, to see the major change in just literally it's just like 7 phone calls out of the 12 that we were doing. I gave her a special where we did it 12 weeks, and 7 weeks in, and then today was the 8th phone call of 12, and I'm just blown away at the complete difference we are at. Before it was very frenzied and chaotic, a lot of inward turmoil and burying stuff down, and now I feel so much peace emanating from her. There's this strong and certainty, and just seriously, peace is the word that I'm looking for, because we're not aiming for happiness, because happiness is just like a feeling, and we are happy, we're sad, we're upset, we're overjoyed. I mean, there's ups and downs. You're never always just happy. Like, there's things that happen and you get really sad. There's things that happen, and we're talking about a state of being, and that peace is a state of being where the world's throwing shit at you, and no matter whether it's something that puts you on the top of the moon or puts you into like the deepest of valleys, you're still at peace with yourself, and you know your worth, and you know your value, and you know that you'll get through it no matter what it is. And a coach helps you to get there so that you got yourself and you understand your full self-worth, and you give yourself what you need, and you learn how to make the choices. So hit me up, because I am very ready to take on new clients. Summer is kicking in. I've quit my real job. I've got hours to fill in. So let's see. Okay. Oh, now that I made this video forever long, I'm just going to throw out there, I'm not here for people who are all, woo is me, sorry, I cannot, listen, just listen to me and feel sorry for me. There's a difference between feeling sorry for somebody and having empathy and compassion. And I bring empathy and compassion to the table, but I also make sure that we're being realistic, and that you're actually going to do the work. So we don't just talk about stuff. We actually are working on our mindsets. So this is a growing experience. A coaching client relationship is a growing experience for the coach and the client. So it's a great relationship that I never realized how amazing it was until I've been out. Now I've been on both sides of that fence, and I freaking love it. So hit me up.